I grew up on a farm here in eastern Iowa. Grew up in a family of 10, so it was a large family, and we went to church faithfully every week. In that church, we didn't spend enough time in the Bible. We got a couple verses during the service, and it was not very fulfilling. You did not go through a whole book of the Bible, which really gives you the context that helps you more fully understand what God is trying to say in there. In between college and getting married, I really very sporadically attended church and drifted away from God during that period. I was very much me-focused and not very giving or generous. By not following God more closely, I was not the best parent to my children, and they have fallen away from God. One of the things I'd always look at is I always thought I was kind of smarter than everybody else. I would look at people like, why would you do that dumb thing? Really, instead of trying to help them, I would just sit in the sidelines and kind of snicker at them. To me now, that's just disgusting to do. Once we got married, we both decided that we wanted to bring our children up in the church, and that's when we started going back to church. And once we started going back again, we went faithfully, regularly every week. Attending services for that church, I found myself actually sometimes picking up the Bible and reading while other things were going on during the service, just because I was curious. And that's where God was tapping me on the shoulder. You need to read this more carefully and get a better understanding of it. Once we got to Iowa here, we went around to several different churches, and once we came to Grace, it was like we both had a consensus that this is where we want to stay. Something told me to go spend more time in the Word. We joined a community group, just became more accepting and more wanted to be like Christ, and just took the next step then gradually. My transition has been a slow, steady climb up the mountain sort of thing versus other people have the big kind of event thing. I guess I didn't really have that. For me, what looks different since becoming closer to God is that I'm much more patient and accepting of other people. Used to be kind of judgmental on people, and now I've become much more sensitive to other people's needs and much more giving and caring and generous, I would say. My change is represented by Ephesians 2:8-9. For it is by grace that you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is a gift of God, and not by works, so that no one can boast. I'd like to get baptized for two reasons. I would like to, A, become a member of the church, and the second thing is I want to show my faith in God to the community, I guess. It just puts a stake in the ground and it shows my commitment to God. God's made a tremendous commitment to me. My prayer for being an active follower of Christ is to stay in the Word, begin to try talking to my children and bring them around back into the faith, and just be more of a joy to be around. Also, not be so condescending and be much less judgmental.
I just want to say thank you for sharing your testimony, and it's a really honor to baptize you. And as you mentioned about being part of the community, I want to thank you for serving so many ministries here with your time and your treasures and talents. So thank you for that. For today, I have 3 questions for you. Are you by nature and choice a sinner?
Yes.
Is there any hope for you apart from Jesus Christ?
No.
And do you believe that Jesus is the Christ and the Son of the living God?
Yes.
It is my honor to baptize you in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.